Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show, the podcast. That is right. The show, the podcast is back. Took a little bit of a break, a little hiatus. Got married, enjoyed my month of October. So I thank you all for being very receptive to that idea. MLB The Show 24 had been in a little bit of a down period. And then, of course, as I'm away, Extreme comes out. A Halloween program comes out. Butt ton of postseason programs comes out. 43 99s just from postseason programs alone. But that's okay. That's okay. I was able to keep up with it here and there. I took the last week to catch up fully. And today we're going to talk specifically about the postseason content. I know I missed a lot. I'm sure it will be covered. Or it already has been covered by other content creators you watch. So no need to just hash out old stuff, right? So we're going to talk about my thoughts on the postseason content today. Good, bad, and otherwise, but largely very good. And yeah, so thank you guys for being here. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. Every Tuesday, we have the show, the podcast, other content, of course, sprinkled in as well. And yeah, so let us talk. Let's begin. So here we are on the programs page, which I've just now realized is not the best place to start. Let's instead go to the inventory page. I want to search by postseason. So I'm going to double count to make sure 43 is the right number, but we have 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 43. Look at me. Look at me, a math magician. Here's what I first want to say about the postseason program and start out on the highest point possible. SDS released things in a timely fashion, which last year they failed to do. We were getting Division Series content as the Championship Series was on Game 3. Not good. This was much more efficient. They did a great job with this. Truly, truly, shout out to the gameplay team, or the content team, rather, who was able to push this out quickly. Big fan. The second reason, I am largely an enormous fan of the postseason content, and I think it gets like a B+/A-. Probably closer to A-, but in totality, that's what I'm grading it, is just about every single one of these cards kicks butt in one way or another. I'm going to go through all of them. I'm not going to do a very granular read on all of them, but I will tell you why all of them are worth your time. Hunter Brown, sinker cutter, funky delivery. Spoiler alert, he's pitching in our video later this week. Francisco Lindor, don't have to say much else. Jesse Winker. This is one of the lesser cards out of all of them. I expected better numbers versus righties, but his swing makes up for it. He's a platoon bat, 125 clutch. He's going to play if you use him off the bench. Plus, he has the pinch hitter quirk. So there you go. Max Muncy, great swing. He lacks a little bit on the contact left, of course, and it is a pretty lefty-heavy meta right now. But he's Max Muncy. He's got a great swing. Juan Soto, don't even have to click on him. This card's nuts. Giancarlo Stanton, incredible. Jhonkensy Noel, I hate him. I'm a Yankee fan. I'm sad after this postseason. For a lot of reasons, but this card's fun, a ton of fun. Same thing goes for David Fry. Is actually a really good catching card. He's a first base primary, probably going to use him catching. It's a really good card. Freddie Freeman. Don't like him. I'm a Yankee fan, but they made him a captain, and we're going to talk more about that. They made him a captain. That's all you need to know. It's just an insane card. He's Babe Ruth / Barry Bonds. Insane card. Tommy Edman, fantastic card against lefties. He should be on everybody's bench. I would see if you started him, I'd be like, all right, but I think he is best served as the ultimate bench player. Can play every position but first and catcher. Kills lefties, fast, fields great, great card. Yamamoto, he's built perfectly. He's only not great because his pitch mix ain't great, and I don't think he's very hard to pick up, but built very well. Jack Flaherty, primary knuckle curve, little strange, but is pretty good. Walker Buehler, 50 stamina closer, even though he only threw 14 pitches in that 9th inning. Whatever, it's just because he's a starter that they made a closer. Sinker cutter, very good. Michael Kopech, who I think is a butthole. Not a big fan of his. I didn't like this whole shushing thing he did to the Yankees for no reason. Nobody was yelling at him, in my opinion. He's probably one of the least usable, but he does throw hard. He's got outlier, obviously. Anthony Banda, very good lefty. Definitely an option for you. Garrett Cole, I wish they would have found a way to throw his turbo sinker in there, but in all reality, these are the 5 pitches he threw most. Built very well, at the very least. Verdugo. In no world should Alex Verdugo look like this, because he's not that good. He's not good at all. Whichever team signs him in the offseason, please don't be the Yankees. I'm sorry for what you're about to endure. But this card's built really well. That's the other thing they did. The reason so many of these cards are built so well is because I love what SDS did here. Instead of building cards based on series-long performances, which sometimes they do and sometimes they don't, they did a mix of series-long performances and individual moments that stood out. Jhonkensy Noel had an awful championship series. I think he only had 1 or 2 hits, but of course he had a monster, historic home run and deserved a fun card for that moment. That's what they did. Think of it as like Topps Now blended with Postseason. Kind of how I've been telling myself how it works. So I'm a fan. Alex Verdugo hit a big home run. Somehow, the fact he led the Yankees with 5 RBIs in the World Series tells you all you need to know about how the World Series went for the boys in the Bronx. Tommy Kahnle, awesome card. I think he's readable as a pitcher, but awesome card. Anthony Volpe, this card's incredible. I really want to find ways to work him in. It'd be irresponsible not to use that Lindor right now. Probably also irresponsible not to use the Events Corey Seager right now. But this Volpe card's really good. Like, really, really good. Big fan. This Mookie Betts is insane. He's Mookie Betts. Carlos Rodon kind of stinks, but that's a Rodon pitch mix and delivery problem. But he's built well. Kike Hernandez, Enrique is a fun card. Similar to Tommy Pham, I would expect to see him on a lot of benches. High clutch. Does everything well, plays a lot of positions. Kind of surprised he doesn't have pinch hitter quirk, but that's okay. Kerry Carpenter, he is a bench bat against righties, and he will crush them. As long as these cards have utility, that's all I ask for. Same thing for Eddie Ibanez, he crushes lefties. Max clutch, 112 vision, 98 in the field, so if you want to put him at third, first, second, short, or left, you can do that. Lucas Erceg, certainly going to be a reliever I expect to see. Kind of surprised he doesn't have a cutter, because I feel like he had cutters in the past. Either way, very good card. Plus, base 33 stamina out the box. Like that a lot. Cedric Mullins. Probably going to get overshadowed by the 13 million incredible outfielders that got dropped while I was away. But he's still a Cedric Mullins card, and that means people are going to like him. Aaron Bummer, he's good. Wish he didn't have a slurve and a curve. I wish we got rid of the curve for a changeup. But insane lefty, tough delivery to pick up. He's going to be used. Michael Harris, a lot of fun. Great in the field, really fast. Kyle Higashioka, the home run stroker. Who would have thought the Yankees would get rid of him and he'd be a stud? I liked Higgy when he was on the Yankees just because of what he was as a valuable backup catcher with some pop. But this man was nuts, and he has max power. That's a lot of fun. 70 vision stinks, but that's a lot of fun. Jackson Shurio, be prepared in the next 3 years to get insane cards of this man. This kid, he's 20. I can't call him a man, but what a wild player this guy is going to turn out to be, and he's already quite good. This is a really balanced, fun card. I think as he matures and gets older, we will see that power probably stay the same, but get 110, 115, 120 contacts on both sides. That's what I hope he turns into, because that's basically going to make this type of card a diet Ronald Acuna. Pretty freaking fun to think about. Jake Bauers, former Yankee legend himself, also crushes right-handed pitching. Teoscar, Yankees' public enemy. Just a great card. His swing is either for you or not for you, but a fun card. Pete Alonso, his swing is incredible. Nicky Sticks, his swing is great as well. Jose Quintana, he's pretty good. Funky delivery as a lefty, so you might give him a try. Mark Vientos, traded for him in Dynasty this year. Thank you very much. This card is nutty good. If you like his swing, give him a go. Garrett Hampson, probably nothing more than a bench pinch runner because he plays every position but first and catcher. And I guess he hits lefties a little bit. Max clutch too. Plus a great bunter. Maybe you're a small ball type of player. Garrett Hampson is for you. If you play at Polo Grounds and do a speed demon bunting horrible person team, Garrett Hampson. Cole Reagans, good starter. Not great, but good starter. Gleyber Torres, I expect to see people playing him at second base, even though second base has gotten a lot deeper. But his swing is really nice. The power right's a little low, but you put on the Freddie Freeman team, he gets boosts everywhere else, and he's very good. Lane Thomas, kind of thought he'd be max versus lefties, but he's basically max versus lefties anyway. His clutch is high, he's really fast, is a good bench bat. Also, phenomenal in the field with a cannon for an arm. Lastly, we have Cade Smith. He's one of the least usable, probably the least usable card. He really doesn't have much to work with. And he doesn't even have outlier or anything. He's built well, but his pitch mix stinks. And that's not on SDS. That's just the pitch mix. Tatis is incredible. I expect to see him a lot. Right field, second, third, short. I mean, he can play everywhere. I think a lot of people are probably going to end up playing him at second or short. That's my guess. Maybe even third if you don't want a wild card chipper. And then lastly, Austin Wells. I'm glad my king got a 99. It sucks that he can't hit a lefty to save his life, because otherwise he'd be someone you could play with. His swing is really good. But, in totality, I know I just probably took longer than I wanted to doing that. 33 of these 43 cards are, worth your time. Legitimately worth your time, and the other ones are still built well, but just for one reason or another have bad pitch mixes or, bad swings maybe. To prove to you how good it is, the video coming on Thursday this week is going to be an entire postseason team with Hunter Brown, probably the starter, like I said, and you could fill out a whole postseason bullpen except for one position, so I put our king, Mariano Rivera, a.k.a. Luke Weaver, from the Season Awards program. You could build an entire postseason team, of course, buffed by the Freddie Freeman captain. And this is incredible. It's incredible. Freddie Freeman is the one last, super duper positive I want to talk about here. I am glad SDS went out on a limb, not took a risk, but, did something different and said, this Freddie was so good. It's the end of the year's game cycle. We're switching things up. We're seeing how things work. Will people use more captain boosts if we already put them on great cards? And the answer is probably yes. I love this. I think, if you look at the way that they've done captains, right? And then tie it into what they would have done with the World Series program. Normally your captain's a 93, 95. It's fine overall, but it's only a 95, so it can only be so good. Its captain boost would probably be the same as this, which is plus 10 contact right, plus 10 power left, plus 10 batting clutch, plus 8 hits per 9, and you need 13 players. But in the context of a World Series program, if you made Freddie Freeman the captain, you would not have a 99 overall Freddie Freeman, because he would have been the captain, which is a 95, as we just established. Now, maybe they actually could have set a precedent and released a captain and a 99 of him and given you the option. Whatever. Neither here nor there. I think this was the best path. You give us a beefy Freddie Freeman. That's just insanely good. And it angers me still that it's this good, because the Yankees couldn't pitch to this guy because they kept throwing him inside. Why? Why keep throwing him inside? And then they gave him captain boost. So this guy's going to be nuts. Without the captain boost, let's say this team is already viable. This postseason team is already viable, but then you add the captain boost, and it makes it nuts. And just so, for people who are listening, I'll read out this team real quick. Come to the YouTube either today to watch this again, or on Thursday to watch the actual gameplay. But in left field, I have Juan Soto. Center field, Enrique Hernandez. He will platoon with Tommy Edman. If it's a lefty pitcher, I want Edman in there, because he hits them better. Mookie Betts in right. Third base is Lindor. Shortstop is, I have Volpe in there because I want to use Volpe. If we're being realistic, Tatis is probably the better overall card, but I really want to play with this Anthony Volpe. I think he's underrated. Second base is Gleyber Torres. First base, of course, Freddie Freeman with the boost activated. David Fry is our catcher, and Giancarlo Stanton is the DH. On the bench, like I said, Edman, Tatis, Austin Wells, just to have a backup catcher. I actually think they're the only two catchers. Are they the only two catchers? Oh, no, Higashioka is the only other catcher. So you could use Higashioka, you could use Austin Wells. I figured because David Fry will hit a lefty better, I'll have Austin Wells in there to hit a righty better. And then Kerry Carpenter is our other pinch hitter. Rotation is Hunter Brown, Cole Reagans, Jose Quintana, Jack Flaherty, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. The two left off are Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon. And then the bullpen is every reliever they gave you for the postseason program, plus one other of your choosing. So this is a good team. It's a very good team. I expect to be super competitive with it. I'm excited to see how the gameplay goes on Thursday. I have not recorded it yet. So Freddie Freeman being the captain boosts this team, of course, like I said, quite a bit. But you don't even need him to do that. This team is outstanding on its own. Let's talk about program structure of the postseason, right? So it's quick to grind. It's really quick to grind. Someone asked me how I caught up so quickly. These programs don't take long. What I ended up doing was I played a lot of offline stuff to catch up in multiple things at once. I tried to see where there were statistical mission overlaps between the Halloween thing and the Extreme program and all of these postseason things. Honestly, I just bludgeoned the computer for the past week to finish as much of this as possible. Here's what I liked and didn't like about some of these programs. So, for some of them, you had to do the missions. For some of them, you only had to do the moments. Like the World Series program, for example. They gave you enough moments so that you didn't have to do a single mission. They actually gave you enough moments so you could even skip one. You could kind of pick and choose. I didn't do a single mission. You just sat there and did moments. I watched a 27-minute YouTube video and a 14-minute YouTube video, and by the time those were over, I had finished this whole program. So, not a bad grind at all. It sucked to relive all these awful moments in my life. But, easy program to do. Big fan of that. I didn't like the inconsistency, though. Because like I said, some of them you had to do missions. Like here, I did missions. I didn't want to do missions. But for some of them, you had to. And for some of them, you did not. I don't know why they were built that way. I am assuming it's because some of the series had, like, more high-profile moments than others. That's just kind of my guess. I did like how they broke up each series into its own program instead of putting them all in one. It really made it feel isolated. It really made it feel like you were kind of reliving the series in the best way MLB The Show can recreate. I think that's kind of cool. I don't know. I don't know why they weren't consistent with the missions moments thing. It's not a huge deal. It's not like a make or break thing. Clearly, I still very much enjoy all the postseason content. It would have been nice just to have some uniformity. Because some of them you could fly through and others you were like, oh, now I gotta go into the computer again. I gotta go just do events and like organically grind it. And I don't like that. I'd rather it just be consistent. But they were easy. 25 points. Bingo bango. Finish the program. For some of them. Obviously for the championship, for the World Series it was a full 100. And for the championship series it was 50, but they were still super easy. Like I flew through these. And they did a good job giving us the players or the cards that we would have asked for. They're built really, really well. Does it underscore some of the repetitiveness of sets and seasons? For sure it does. Let me show you what I mean by that. So, like, let's go here. Let's, here, Giancarlo Stanton. We'll do Marlins. We'll do wild card. Okay, so maybe this isn't the best one-to-one because the Giancarlo Stanton on the Marlins could play the field still because he was younger, but it's basically the same exact offensive card. The DH one first, and the speed is obviously better on the Marlins card. Maybe he's not the best example. Let's do Soto. He had another 99, right? He had a all-star one. Didn't he? Oh, I have to go to wild card. Sorry. So, like, close to the same card? Like, not exactly the same, but kind of close. I just think we're done with sets and seasons, right? Like, please don't bring this back. It's weird to grind for the same card a second time. Even though I still maintain that I think sets and seasons had potential, I don't know if I think that anymore. At least with the way it is structured now. So the postseason content was very good. I'm a big fan. And now that I'm completely caught up on content, I figured it would be worth kind of ending the episode with what my team looks like now, my God Squad team, and why I think that. So outfield is really a dealer's choice, right? There's a million outfielders. I am rolling with Ronald Acuna from the Extreme program in left, Mike Trout, finest, what an incredible card this is, in center, and the Halloween Vladimir Guerrero Sr. in right field. If you've never used a Vladimir Guerrero card, try him, and you'll fully understand why I am choosing him to start over someone like Mickey Mantle, or even Juan Soto, who I love. I have Chipper Jones wild card at third. I think there are plenty of third basemen for you to choose from. George Brett is an option as well. And if you just look at third baseman that came out in season 3, Vientos is a candidate as well. Anthony Rendon is pretty good, not going to lie. Austin Riley from the Halloween thing ain't bad. Vinny Castilla is very balanced. Like, there are a lot of third basemen you could choose from. Then if you go to secondary third base, you could play Freddie Freeman there. You could play Jackie Robinson there. Ernie Banks, Jorge Polanco, David Fry, Glaber, Tommy Edman can play there. Nick Castellanos, Tatis, like a ton. Javi Baez ain't bad. O'Neal Cruz, like, it's actually incredible how many third basemen. Anthony Volpe can play there. So you don't have to wild card somebody to play there. Chipper Jones is just fine for me, but you could play anybody. I have Lindor playing a shortstop because it would be foolish not to do that. I'm a little sluggish right now on my start with Lindor, but we're starting to pick it up. Second base, finally a lot of options, but I'm rolling with Silver Slugger Matt Carpenter from the Career Tribute Program. If you know, you know. What an insane swing. Max contact, 113 vision, max clutch. You get him to parallel 3, and he's a diamond at his primary at second base. That's awesome. But there's competition. Gleyber Torres for sure. Jorge Polanco for sure. Mookie Betts for sure. Tatis for sure. Tommy Edman for sure. Corey Seager when I get him back, because I sold him after getting him for 300,000 stubs. He's a candidate. But Matt Carpenter's really friggin' good. Really good. At first base, I'm playing the finest Cody Bellinger from the finest collections. Jorge Posada's still my catcher just because I love Jorge Posada and I love his swing. A lot of guys there that you could play, though. My DH is Lou Gehrig. I'm really struggling with him. Like, I'm hitting 241 and 29 online at bats. Something about the timing of his swing, I need to get used to, and I'm confident I will. His attribute, nuts. This card is crazy good, so I'm gonna figure him out. My bench is Biggio because he can catch, plus he's got some speed. Mickey Mantle, just because he's too good not to have on my roster. Tommy Edman and Juan Soto. I really wanted to find a way to get Giancarlo on here. It just doesn't fit. And I really am upset I'm not using Paul O'Neill anymore. But, I mean, how do I argue with this outfield? This outfield's nuts. My rotation. Notice I only had 2 wild cards, by the way, in the lineup. Posada and Chipper. You don't need them. My rotation is Randy Johnson, Clayton Kershaw, John Donaldson. I wildcarded Cliff Lee because I love Cliff Lee. And Jacob deGrom. And then the bullpen is crazy. We're at a point in the year where bullpens are pretty nuts. Gregory Soto, Andrew Miller, Aroldis Chapman, Walker Buehler, Eric Gagne, who I'm stunned that I'm good with. I know it's a small sample size, 4.2 innings, but I felt really comfortable with him. Usually I do not. Chris Martin, Adam Ottavino, who I'm upset doesn't have a changeup. We could get rid of the four-seamer for a changeup, or we can get rid of the slider or slurve changeup. Whatever. And then Mariano Rivera. So I'm happy with where my team's at this point. I definitely had a little bit of FOMO while I was taking my hiatus and not playing as consistently. I was looking at all the fun cards coming out, and I was like, oh my god, I need this guy for my team. I need this guy for my team. I needed it all. SDS has done a really good job in the last couple months with content. It's a shame that they waited until most of the player base was already upset. And it's a shame that this content isn't just this good all the time. Because clearly they've shown the ability to make it this good all the time. And it's not even about the volume of 99s. Like, yes, there are a ton of them. But just the content is good. Like, the time of year, coupled with the speed at which the content comes out, coupled with the ideas, coupled with the way the grinds go, like, largely just really good. So if you could scale this throughout the year and make it like, all right, we're at the point of the year where everything's 88s. Let's make all these cards usable. Let's make the grind easy and fun. Like, if you could just scale this, we're at a point where content might be back. So it used to be like that. It used to be really good like that. It's just a matter of turning the page backwards a couple years and trying it again. So I hope that's the direction SDS is going. I've not had any conversations with them about that, so I don't know. I can't speak to that. We have talked about some other stuff. Leave it there. But we haven't had discussions, at least I haven't had discussions on that particular subject. So I'm curious. I'm very curious. But this has been a quick little catch-up episode. Talked about the postseason stuff. Talked about where my lineup's at. Excited to get back to the content grind. I hope you guys missed me. I missed all of you. It was a nice break, though. Like, truly, it was a really nice way to just reset, recharge, not have to worry about recording and editing or, you know, trying to come up with content ideas when the content wasn't there for me. So, feel good. I feel good. I appreciate you guys so much. I love you. I hope you're enjoying the game if you're still playing. But thank you guys. Love you. See you next time.